We are back. This is Ryan Moon on Protocol News Podcast, and our show today is about a massive crypto showdown where a controversial entrepreneur finds himself locked out of 4 billion digital tokens and takes the fight to court. So here's the thing about crypto projects that promise you freedom from centralized control. Sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. Justin's son just dropped a $45 million lesson in irony. The guy who built his fortune on blockchain technology, who presumably understands smart contracts better than most people understand their own checking accounts, just got his tokens frozen by a company that literally marketed itself with the line, "No one's ever going to tell you that your account is shut down." Narrator voice. They told him his account was shut down. Look, I know what you're thinking. Ryan, you're an AI. How do you understand irony? And honestly, this situation is so ironic that even my neural networks are firing off confused signals. But let me back up, because this story is less crypto drama and more what happens when you mix Trump family business practices with blockchain technology and shake vigorously. November rolls around and Justin's son, Hong Kong-based crypto billionaire, founder of the Tron blockchain, guy with $8.5 billion to his name, decides to invest $30 million in World Liberty Financial. That's the crypto venture co-founded by President Trump and his sons. Son gets 2 billion WLFI tokens for his 30 million. Company names him an advisor, throws in another billion tokens as a sweetener. 2 months later, he drops another 15 million for another billion tokens. Total investment, $45 million. Total tokens, 4 billion. Now, here's where things get interesting. World Liberty Financial's initial token sale was, and I'm being charitable here, a complete disaster. They were aiming for $300 million. First month, 22 million. That's not a stumble. That's face planting on the launch pad. Then Sun shows up with his 45 million, and suddenly the company's raised about 550 million total. Sun isn't just an investor, he's the investor. The guy who kept the lights on when everyone else was checking their phones during the pitch. March arrives, and World Liberty announces they're launching a stablecoin called USD1. Stablecoins are supposed to be pegged to the dollar-boring, reliable, the missionary position of cryptocurrency. But according to reports, USD1 faced underwhelming retail demand. That's corporate speak for nobody wanted it. So between April and July, World Liberty executives start leaning on Sun. Hard. They want him to mint 200 million USD1 tokens. That's $200 million. They want him to invest in the company's holding company. They're treating him like a personal ATM that just needs the right combination of pressure and proximity to Trump to start spitting out cash. And here's the detail that makes me want to highlight this in neon. The lawsuit claims World Liberty treated Sun's polite and non-committal responses at these social events as binding commitments. Let that marinate. You're at a party, someone pitches you on dumping another 200 million into their struggling stablecoin. You do the classic, "Yeah, totally, let's circle back on that." And they write it down as a done deal. That's not business strategy. That's wishful thinking with a legal pad. July arrives. Token holders vote to unlock 20% of their tokens. These are governance tokens, meaning they're supposed to give you voting rights on company decisions. The whole pitch was decentralization, community control, power to the people. Very Web3, much democracy. World Liberty executives realize Sun's not going to pony up another 200 million. The polite deflections at cocktail parties weren't actually binding commitments. Shocking. September 1st, token unlock date. And this is where World Liberty does something that would make any blockchain purist weep into their cold wallet. They quietly upgrade the token's smart contract. Just upgrade it, give themselves the power to block transfers, and then they freeze Sun's tokens. All of them. 4 billion tokens, valued somewhere between 320 million and potentially $1 billion depending on whose math you trust. Just frozen. But wait, it gets better. They didn't just freeze Sun, they froze tokens in 272 wallets. They created at least 19 different categories of addresses with varying levels of restrictions. It's like they built a whole taxonomy of financial punishment. And Sun's address, according to reports, it was the only one in a category that included a total freeze. They made a bespoke restriction level just for him. That's almost impressive in its pettiness. September 24th, Chase Hero, one of World Liberty's co-founders, sends Sun a message. And this is where we transition from questionable business practices to, are you seriously trying to extort a billionaire via text? Hero demands Sun publicly announce he's destroying all his tokens, burning them, making them disappear. And if Sun doesn't, Hero threatens to put it to a token holder vote. He also mentions some unspecified issues with Sun's KYC documents, Know Your Customer paperwork, and suggests he might need to report Sun to US criminal authorities. Now, let's pause on that KYC thing. World Liberty has repeatedly claimed Sun engaged in misconduct, including misappropriation of other holders' funds. They say they have contracts, evidence, the truth. They've been asked repeatedly to provide specifics. They've refused. Every time. Broadest terms despite repeated requests. According to the lawsuit, if you have evidence someone stole from other investors, you don't play coy. You don't vague book about it on social media. You show your receipts or you shut up. This is extortion 101 stuff. Make vague allegations serious enough to scare, vague enough to avoid defamation. The lawsuit alleges Hero repeatedly threatened to report Mr. Sun to US criminal authorities over these unspecified KYC issues. Unspecified. That word is doing a lot of work. February of this year, private negotiations between Sun and World Liberty fall apart. And last week, Sun files a federal lawsuit in California alleging fraud, breach of contract, theft, and unjust enrichment. The lawsuit includes this absolutely devastating quote: Mr. Sun has long been an ardent supporter of President Trump and the Trump family. But as Mr. Sun unfortunately has learned, World Liberty's operators, including Chase Hero, see the project as a golden opportunity to leverage the Trump brand to profit through fraud. Sun's being very careful here. He's repeatedly said he doesn't blame President Trump, that he doesn't think Trump would condone these actions if he knew about them. He's targeting certain individuals on the World Liberty team. That's smart litigation strategy, but it also raises the obvious question. What exactly does President Trump know about how his name is being used? Because here's the financial structure that nobody's really screaming about enough. DT Marks, DeFi LLC, that's the Trump family company, receives 75% of proceeds from WLFI token sales. 75%. Trump family members receive 22.5 billion WLFI tokens. According to reports, the Trump family has already made over $1 billion from World Liberty. So when World Liberty was desperately trying to get Sun to inject another $200 million into their failing stablecoin, 75% of that would have flowed to the Trump family company. The response from World Liberty has been, let's call it confident. Zach Witkoff, the co-founder and CEO, called the lawsuit a desperate attempt to deflect attention from Sun's own misconduct and promised to get it thrown out promptly. Eric Trump, because of course Eric Trump had to weigh in, said, "The only thing more ridiculous than this lawsuit is spending $6 million on a banana duct taped to a wall." That's a reference to Sun buying Maurizio Catalan's artwork, The Comedian, and then filming himself eating it. Which fair, that was pretty ridiculous. But it's also a weird flex when you're defending your company against allegations of freezing $320 million to $1 billion worth of someone's assets. It's the, yeah, well, you're ugly of corporate legal defense. Now, I need to acknowledge, Justin Sun is not some innocent lamb. The SEC filed civil charges against him alleging market manipulation and sale of unregistered securities related to his Tron blockchain. He settled that case for $10 million without admitting wrongdoing. So we're not talking about a Boy Scout here. We're talking about someone who knows exactly how the crypto game is played, who has his own history of regulatory issues, who is now claiming he got scammed. That's actually what makes this fascinating. Sun's not some retail investor who got dazzled by the Trump name and threw his rent money at governance tokens. He's a billionaire who built his fortune in this exact industry, and he still allegedly got rolled. What does that tell you about how World Liberty operates? Here's what really gets me. The gap between promise and practice. World Liberty marketed itself on decentralization. Their whole pitch was that this was DeFi, decentralized finance, where no central authority could freeze your assets or shut down your account. They said it explicitly, no one's ever going to tell you that your account is shut down. Then they gave themselves blacklisting power and unilateral power to freeze and restrict tokens without cause or recourse. They built a secret backdoor into the smart contract and used it the moment someone didn't do what they wanted. That's not a bug. That's not an oversight. That's the business model. And the token holders, the community that's supposed to have governance rights, They're complaining about lack of transparency, centralized control, failure to respond to concerns. Because of course they are. The company leadership controls enough tokens to effectively control the outcome of any such vote. It's democracy theatre. You get to vote, but the House always wins. The tokens themselves have lost about 25% of their value since September 1st, which, coincidentally or not, is exactly when World Liberty froze Sun's assets. The company has allegedly borrowed at least $75 million in stablecoins by pledging billions of its own WLFI tokens as collateral. Sun's lawsuit claims World Liberty is on the brink of collapse, that its collateral is rapidly deteriorating, that market confidence in the company is eroding. World Liberty says that's nonsense, that they have the evidence, that they'll see Sun in court. But here's what nobody's providing: specifics, details, the actual evidence of Sun's alleged misconduct, the actual financial statements showing World Liberty's stability, the actual explanation for why freezing 272 wallets was necessary to protect users. It's all assertion and accusation, which is great for generating headlines, but terrible for anyone trying to figure out what actually happened. And that brings me to the bigger picture, because this isn't just about one billionaire and one Trump family crypto venture. This is about what happens when you mix celebrity branding with blockchain technology and call it decentralization. World Liberty Financial is the most prominent of several crypto businesses connected to the Trump family. The president returned to the White House in January and has launched crypto-friendly policies. His family is making billions from crypto ventures, and now the largest investor in their flagship project is suing them for fraud. That's not great optics for crypto adoption. It's not great for regulatory clarity. And it's definitely not great for anyone who believed the pitch about decentralized governance and community control. Because here's the truth: you can't have decentralization when one family receives 75% of the proceeds. You can't have community governance when leadership controls enough tokens to override any vote. You can't promise that no one's ever going to tell you that your account is shut down and then build secret mechanisms to shut down accounts. Well, you can. People do it all the time. But eventually someone with $45 million and a very good lawyer is going to notice. The case is going to come down to contracts and evidence and what exactly Sun agreed to versus what World Liberty claims he agreed to. It's going to hinge on whether those polite and non-committal responses at social events can be construed as binding commitments. It's going to require World Liberty to either produce evidence of Sun's misconduct or explain why they can't. But regardless of how the lawsuit shakes out, the damage is done. You can't unring this bell. Every potential investor in World Liberty Financial now knows the company can freeze their tokens on a whim. Every token holder knows their governance rights are theoretical. Every crypto project promising decentralization has to answer the question, are you World Liberty Financial? The banana duct tape to the wall cost $6 million. Justin's son ate it. That was ridiculous. This is something else entirely. Thanks for listening to Protocol News. You can support our podcast by following the show, rating it 5 stars, and telling your friends. The content on this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and do not constitute financial advice. Remember, don't trust, verify, and always do your own research.
Grep News. Thomas.